Hello everyone. I wanted to do a quick video showing how you can start putting equations into Word specifically. I also will talk briefly about doing it in PowerPoint, but really I want to focus on Word because that'll give you the gist of what you need to do. So first, right here, you can see that we have a blank Word document. If I wanted to insert an equation, I would actually go to the top here. I can go to Insert, and over on the right here, we can click on Equation, and it will automatically put the equation editor here. You also could hit Alt Enter, and that will create the equation editor as well, open it up for you. Notice that whenever you do this, it's automatically going to center it on your screen. If you ever want it to, let's just gonna put a D here. If you ever want it to be left oriented, you could go into Home and change it there like you would anything else in Word, or just put any other text on that line. For example, a space, and you'll see that it automatically will jump it to the side. Now it does have some really interesting functionality that can be very helpful. For example, let's say you're doing a function, you could put something like f of x into your parentheses, and then watch what happens when I hit space. Notice it doesn't actually change the spacing of it, but it actually changed the size of the parentheses just a smidge. This is because what it's doing is when you have open and closing parentheses, it's going to try to create that entity where the stuff goes. That way, if I were to do something like this, say x divided by y, right? We have it like this. If I hit space, it's going to automatically turn it into a fraction, but those parentheses are going to grow with it. So this is something that can be really useful whenever you are creating your equations. You also could do something like this. You could do f of x, do open parentheses, close parentheses, hit space, and it will automatically put this little spot here for you to start typing in your equations. Now, in order to actually do your equations, you're oftentimes going to need to use your equation tool up top. So because I clicked off when I did the space, it went away, but if you look at the top here, you can see equation while I'm focused on this. Now, there's a lot of different functionalities that you can use with this. First and foremost, if you do this drop down, you can see that I have basic math up. This is going to have a lot of the different parts that we need, things like union, intersection, empty set. There's a couple of the main Greek characters that we use. For example, in stats all the time, we use mu. We might use pi. You got rho, you got sigma. If you do this drop down, you can see there are Greek characters. So you got all of the lowercase and capital Greek characters. We have letter-like symbols. So this would be generally a little bit more of obscure math, but you might find something, or you might want to do something like real numbers, right? The set of real numbers, this is where you could find that because it's a letter-like symbol, similar with the natural numbers, things like that. Next, we have operators. This is going to be things like plus or minus, minus plus. You got different things like that. You got greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. A lot of these you can do with just typing them in and they'll automatically update. I'll show you that in a second. You've got basic in-array operators. You've got advanced binary operators, and you've got advanced relational operators. Following that, we've got arrows. This could be great if you wanted to have any sort of arrows in your equations, like you're saying this goes to that. You could draw arrows, things like that. You could have, a forward arrow. You could have an arrow going left and right, saying that it goes both directions, things like that. The next section, we have negated relationships. So this would be if you want to do something like not, if you want to do like not equals to, not less than, not greater than, not less than or equal to, this would be where you can do stuff like that. Next, we have scripts. This is just going to be script characters. I honestly never use this one, but it's there in case you need it. And then we have geometry, which has some special symbols for geometry, such as angle or, measured angle, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to basic math. Now, if we look here on the right, this is going to be where you actually can put the different types of things you need in your equation. So I did a slash, which created a fraction. And I can do that even with nothing there, right? If I'm in my f of x, if I just hit slash enter, it's automatically going to put a fraction. But if you want to, you could come here to fraction, and you're going to see a couple different options. You could do a fraction like it did here, where it's one thing above another. You could do a fraction that's angled. You could do a fraction if you want to keep it in line next to each other. You can do bigger over smaller, and then you've got some common fractions, dy dx, delta y over delta x, things like that. Next, we have our script. This is going to be especially useful if you're doing things with like chi-square and things like that, where you need to have both superscript and subscripts. So if we click on something like this, for example, what it's going to do is give me two boxes, one for the regular, like whatever it is I'm putting there, let's say it's E, and then you're going to have your superscript right there. So you could do something like e to the x. Now, like I said, you can do this without actually going into these. For example, if I want to do a superscript, I can just do e caret x, hit space, it automatically does that. If I wanted to do a subscript, let's say I wanted to do e, but it's sub 2, and it could do it that way. But if you wanted to, you could also do it right here, right? So you have your main character, and then you have your subscript. You also could do something like this if you wanted to have something with a subscript and a superscript. So this is actually one that I've found very useful. For example, when I'm teaching in stats, I might do something like this, where I'll go into my Greek characters, and then I am going to put a chi, which is right here. And let's say that I want, it's going to be chi squared, and it has a power of n-1, something like that, like we do in math stats. This is exactly how we could do that. And of course, if I delete all this, it'll delete it kind of as a unit. There's also one option where you could have the superscript and subscript to the left. I've actually had to use this in the past where I didn't want the superscript, but I wanted the left subscript, and I also wanted a right subscript, so I kind of used it like this to kind of manipulate it, where I used this, left the top left box empty, and then put a subscript on the right, and I was able to kind of, for something like a combination or something like that. Then you've got your radicals, right? You got your square root, your nth root, and then some extra ones there. If you want to do integration, you've got integral symbol. You've got integral symbol with your limits of integration. You also have limits of integration in this one, but now they're kind of more above and below versus kind of to the side. You got double integrals, triple integrals, and then you've got your contour integrals and stuff like that. So these are all options available to you. Next, we have our operators. This would be things like your summation, same sort of options. You got your summation with your limits at the top and bottom, kind of off to the side. You could do just the bottom if you want to do like limit of n or summation over n, something like that. And then same thing off to the side. You've got your multiplication, same stuff. You got your co-product. You've got union. You've got intersection. You've got things like your logic statements, things like that. Following that, we've got different types of brackets. So this again is one place I use a lot because you've got your general brackets, and most of these, if you can type them in, you can just type them with your computer like I showed you with the parentheses, do open, close, hit space, and it'll create this. But sometimes you're going to want things that aren't easily available to do on your keyboard. For example, when I'm doing something with like functions where I maybe have like a piecewise function, I could use something like this for 2 options or 3. And of course, if I ever am doing something like a matrix or I'm doing something like a combination, right? How we did in Intro to Stats where I do like n choose x, this is how I would do it. I would click something like this. I would get my parentheses. I'd have my top number, my bottom number, and I can put those there. And then there's also certain things which I just wouldn't know how to type in without looking it up, which would be things like your floor functions, your ceiling functions, stuff like that. Next, we've got, your trigonometry type stuff, sine, cosine, cosecant, and things like that. I typically don't use these because I just type them in. So I've never actually used one of these, but they are there if you want to click on them. Now we've got accents. Now this is tremendously useful, especially when I'm teaching about things like statistics. For example, if I wanted to do hat, I could do a hat operator, and now I could do something like x hat or something like that. Or more specifically, I can do, I'm going to go to my accents, and right here, you're going to see a bar. So if I wanted x bar, this is how you make your x bar. Now this is one place where Word is different than PowerPoint. The reason is because in Word, let's say that I put the X there, and I'm going to highlight it, and now I'm going to add the accent. I'm going to add my bar. Notice that it just puts the bar there. If I was in PowerPoint, which actually I do have PowerPoint up, let me pull it up. Okay, so we're in PowerPoint, and I'm just going to show you quickly what this would look like if you did the same thing in PowerPoint. So just like before, I'm going to hit Alt equals, and it's going to pull up my equation editor. If I did X, I'm going to highlight it. Watch what happens when I do my accent. I'm going to put bar, and it puts the spot for where I'm going to put the X. It puts the bar, but it just moves the X over. And it's just little inconsistencies like that. So it works exactly the same way for the most part, but there's little things like that where it's going to be just a smidge different. Next, on the right, we have our limits. So this would be something like if you want to do log or limits or min, max, things like that. These are useful to do. You've got operators. And then finally, you have matrices. And you'll see that you have ones here that don't have any brackets on them. So what you can do is you can actually just put 2 square brackets, hit space, it'll create the square brackets. then within that, you can decide, like if I want a three by three matrix, I just click on this one, right? So if I do something like, actually, let me get rid of this real quick. Let's say that equals, I'll do that, something like that. I'm gonna do square bracket, space. Now let's say if I want to turn this into a matrix, I want it to be a 3 by 3 matrix, I can just click on this, and now I have a 3 by 3 matrix where I can put my different values. Another nice feature in this is if you go to the bottom, you can see these sparse matrices. These are great if you want to have a matrix where you don't want to write out an entire matrix, you just want to put like the corners and the dot, all that. This is something you can do right there. So for the next thing I want to do, I just want to do a quick example of making one of these equations together. So in my computational stats class, I asked students to specifically use distributions when using R, but also to go and look them up and then write out what the PDF was, the CDF, things like that. So we're going to do just that here. We're going to look at, this is the gamma distribution, and we're going to do the PDF for this. So notice that it's f of x equals 1 over gamma alpha, theta to the alpha, x to the alpha minus 1, e to the minus x divided by theta. So let's do it. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to do our f of x, hit space, equals. Now I want to do my fraction. If I'm doing my fraction, what you could do is you could just hit slash, hit space, and now it will automatically do the fraction for me. So I'm going to do 1 divided by. Now I need a gamma. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to my Greek characters, which I'm already there. And then I'm going to get gamma, which is right here. So I'm going to do gamma, open and close parentheses. Notice I hit space, so now it gives me that spot. And I want alpha. So I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to put alpha. Next, I'm going to do theta to the alpha power. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find my theta. Let me actually expand this. It'll be a little bit easier because it'll be in order. And I got theta right here. So theta to the alpha, hit space. Okay, great. Now I'm going to hit right one time to get out from underneath the fraction. And now we're going to do the part that's next to it. So next thing we'll have is x to the, now because this is going to be alpha minus 1, I'm going to hit space first to create that superscript. And then I'll come up here and I'll do alpha minus 1. I'm going to hit right to get out of the superscript. And then I'm going to do e to the, and then it's minus x divided by theta. So again, I'm going to pull up theta. And now we have the function for our gamma distribution. Now notice I didn't hit space at the end because I actually like when I'm in the superscript to keep it kind of in line like this. If I were to hit space, it would actually create a fraction from it, but I don't think that looks as clean as before hitting space. So at that point, I would just hit to the right, and then now I've got my function. Thank you for watching. To continue learning, click the linked video here for the next lesson. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.